Hello and welcome back. So in this video, we will learn about the table element in HTML. So when you want to display some tabular data, then you want to use the table element in HTML. Previously, many of the times what I have seen in the older code bases, the table element also used to to structure the layout of the web page, which is not recommended. Okay, so here what we can do, we can create the table element. Before doing that, what I have done here is that I have cut out all of the previous code and paste it out inside of the learning HTML, which I am just keeping in track of. All right, so let's create the table element. Table, and hit enter. So it has the closing tag as well. Inside of that, what you can do, you can create the table row, which represents the row of the table, like the one row of the table, right? We can have multiple table rows inside of a single table. That is fine. So I can create the table row, which is the tr tag, hit enter, and here we have the table row tags. Inside of that, we have to have the data which we want to display. For example, I want to display the list of employees. To display that, what I can do, I can create another tag which is called the td, which stands for the table data tag. So td, and hit enter. All right. So inside of that, what I can do, I can show a name. So let's do John Doe. Okay. And what I can do, I can create another one where I want to just show the age of the person as well. So let's do another td, table data, and here inside of that I can do something like 28. Okay, so let's save that and let's go to the browser and let's have a look. So let's go to browser, and here, as you can see, we have the John Doe, which is 28. Now there is a problem, because if I add some other thing here, so let's add another row, the table row. Okay, let's copy and paste, or we can use a little bit of a trick or a shortcut. So what we want a tr, and then inside of that we want the td times 2. Like basically we want two td tags, so td times 2. So this is basically the emit is acting up, and if I hit enter right now, this sort of like code is generated for us. Okay, so let's do Indra, and let's do something like 20 here. I'm not 20, by the way. Anyways, so if I go to the browser, as you can see, we have the John Doe inside of one row of the table, and in the other row we have Indra. All right, now what is happening here, it is a little bit confusing. Like, okay, we can see like, hey, the John Doe or this Indra, this is probably the name of a person, but what is this? This number, what is this? Right, in the code we are assuming that, okay, this is the age, but in the real life the user has no idea about that. To solve that problem, what we can do, we can have the table header. Okay, so let's go to the code, and here we can create another like table row. Okay, so let's go here and tr, and inside of that we can use the tds as well, but we have another thing which is called the th, the table header text. So let's go with td first, and then we will convert that to the th, and we will see the differences. Okay, so td, and inside of that we can do name and shift alt and down, and here we can do something like age. Okay, So now if I go to the browser, so as you can see, this is the heading of our table. But the thing is, this heading text is very similar to this particular text which is here. Yes, we can change that via CSS, but inside of the HTML, we have some options as well. So let's go to the code, and instead of using the TD for this heading part, right, what we can use is that we can use the TH tag. So TH, oh, not that. So TH, and again, let's do TH. Okay. Now, I believe by default, as you can see, I have just changed one tag and it was changing the closing tag as well. It will not happen. So to do that, okay, so let's do Control-Shift-P and install extensions. And here we have a extension which is called the auto rename tag, this one. So what it does basically, whenever we are changing one of the closing or the starting tag of the HTML, it will change the another one. So if I just change the opening tag, it will change the closing tag. So just install this extension. That will be very simple. Okay. Now let's go here, and we have saved that. So let's save the file and go to the browser. So as you can see, this heading text is a bit centered and also it is a bit bold. So it is indicating like, hey, this is the heading of the particular table. Awesome. So this is the heading. So this is all good, but if we want to structure our code a little bit, what we can do that? So we have 3 other tags. So let's have a comment and then we can discuss about that. So one of them is T head, another one is T body, and the last one is the T foot. Okay, the T footer. So what it basically does, if we want to group our like the columns and the rows inside of the table, we can use this particular elements here. So for this particular part, so this row represents the head, right? The head of the table, basically the first thing which comes inside of the table, the head. Okay, so if we want to organize our code a little bit more, what we can do, we can create the T head. Okay, and we can put this particular table row inside of that. So cut and paste it out here. Okay, so if I go to the browser once again, there is nothing changed. Like this is not visual or something like that, but our code is a little bit more readable. Okay, now the other thing is we can use the same technique for this particular rows, right? So this is the body of the table. Okay, so we can create the T body tag, and what we can do, we can just cut this table rows which is containing the data, cut it out and paste it out here. So this is our T head, the table head, and inside of that we have this heading data and so on and so forth. The element which represents a header cell inside of a table. So this TH is that. Okay, and we have this T body, and when I hover, the VS Code is just showing a brief of the documentation, and we can go to the MDN as well. Anyways, so now our code is a little bit organized, but it is not perfect. So what I want to do currently right now is that I want to display the employee name, the age, and the location from which the employee belongs to. Okay, now how we can do that? First of all, so let's do something like, let's add the header here, so th, and do location. Okay, and the location can have two different things. One is the city and the country. Fine. But now there is a problem. The problem is how we are going to group the city and the country inside of a same, like the table column, right? How we can do that? We can do that by using the row span and the col span. Okay, so let's do that one by one. First of all, what we can do here is that we can create another tr, table row, and inside of that, what we can do th, which is city, or let's say country, and let's go with city, and we can copy paste that, and country. All right, so if I go to the browser, so as you can see, so this is in one row, so this is the row, and the city and the country is in another row. Okay, which is expected. So inside of the t table row, the tr tag, we have the name, age, and location, and after another one we have the city and the country. Okay, inside of another tr tag, which is good. Now let's create some data as well. Otherwise there is not that much happening, right? So let's do td once again, the name, age, and then the city is something like New York, New York, and the country is USA. Okay, so USA. All right, so what I can do, I can just copy paste that one more a bunch of times. Let's do shift alt and down arrow, 1, so this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and let's save, and let's go to the browser and let's have a look. So yeah, this is here, so our data is here, right? You can change the names, age, and the location for each of the person. You can do it on your own, that is totally fine, but our main objective is to learn about the tables in HTML, right? So I am not bothered with that currently. But the thing is, what is happening is that the name, age, and location is inside of the, like, the first row, then we have the city and the country. But what we have to do, basically the city and the country, what we have has to be inside of the location. The city and the country is the part of the location, right? So how we can do that? We can do it quite easily. So what we can do, let's go to the code and let's go to the t head. Okay, so here what we can do, so there is the row span and the col span, right? So the name and the age can have the 2 rows worth of space. So what I can do, I can do row span, and I can here put 2. Again, if I do the row span 2, let's see what happened. So go to the browser. So now what it is happening is that we are telling, like, hey, this name and the age, these two should have the space for 2 rows. So one is in the above and another one is in the below. And as you can see, as we are using the th tags, so what is happening, it is automatically getting centered, which is good. Anyways, so we are having here the name and we are having here the age. Okay, now what I want to do, basically I want to like include the city and the country inside of the location. So how we can do that? So let's do that. Okay, so here inside of this th, what we have to do, basically we have to tell HTML like, hey, it should, this location part should span across 2 columns. So let's do col span, and it is 2. Okay, let's see what happened. All right, so now the location is centered, and inside of the location we have the city and the country, which is good. So now what we can do, we can create the footer as well. So here we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 employees. So let's create a footer, and it should go through 1 2 3 4 columns, right? And we can say like, hey, total employee number is 8. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, so let's go to the code, and after the t body, okay, after the t body, let's do t foot. All right, and inside of that we can do the tr, table row, and td, and total employees is 8. And what we can do, let's just see about that, what it is doing. So this is the total employees, which is 8, which is below the data, but it is not spanning across the table. So what we can do, we can do a col span of 4. So the table footer will be across 4 columns. Anyways, so let's see. Yes, as you can see, the table footer, this t foot, is spanning across the whole table, right? And what we can do, basically we can have another something like the table row, and we can see like the employee details or something like that. So let's go inside of the code, and what we can do, we can create another row, the tr. Okay, and inside of that we have the th, and employee details, okay, and this should span across everything as well, right? So if I just go to the browser, so what is happening here? Okay, so as you can see, this is just here. So I want to take all of the space which is available. So what we can do, once again col span of 4. So it will stretch across whole table. And if we want to give another row space, we can do the row span. I hope that is clear. I know this is a little bit confusing sometimes, but yeah. So as you can see, the like the employee details is in the center, and we are seeing that the employee details, this particular table row, is spanning across the table. Awesome. Now this is basically the table element, but many of the times what happens is that we want to describe the table, we want to add a caption for the table, like, hey, what this table is for, right? If we want to do that, then what we can do, we have another tag which is called the caption tag. So just after the table opening tag, we can do the caption, okay, and after that we can do a strong tag, strong, and inside of that all employee details, we can do that. So if I go to the browser, as you can see, this is the caption for the table, right? And this is another table head. By the way, there is no styling currently right now. We can definitely add that, and for a matter of fact, I will add that currently right now. Don't worry about the styling part, the CSS part currently. Just copy along, And definitely in the future we will definitely dive deep into the CSS as well. So let's go here and do style and do border 1 pixel, the thickness, it should be solid. And what we can do, gray, gray. All right, so let's go to the browser, and yeah, there we go. So this is our table, and you can style everything like the t head, t h, and so on and so forth. You can style everything. I'm not getting into that, but yeah. So this is our caption for the table, and this is our table in action. We have the footer as well. So this is the table footer. So yeah, I think this is basically it. So to summarize, if you have the tabular data, you want to use the table element in HTML to display the data, right? And inside of the table element, we have 3 different sections. So we have the T head, the T body, and the T foot. Okay, yeah, this one. And also I want to just clarify that many of the times your table will not have the footer. Sometimes you might not have the body or the header as well. That is totally fine. These are the tags to organize our code. Okay, now this is basically the table, and now we have the table row, the tr tags to create one row inside of the table. And if we want to create the heading elements, so we have the th element for that. That basically adds some default styles like the bolding the text and centering out the text. But again, like we can do everything via CSS as well. Also, if we want to structure our table in a little bit different manner, suppose we want to have like 2 column worth of like the space inside of a single T head, which we have done here. So this location is spanning across 2 like cells inside of the table. So we can do the call span. And if we want to increase the spacing for the rows, we can do the row span as well. Like, hey, this name will be 2 rows across, right? So yeah, this is basically how we can structure our table. And yeah, this is it. Inside of the table body, we have the tr. Again, we have to create the table rows when we want to display the data. And inside of that, we have the td elements, like the table data for each of the columns. Okay, so first one is the name, second one is the age, third one is the location, city, and the fourth one is the country. All right, in our example basically. So yeah, this is basically it. And again, we like rarely use tables because many of the times we do not have that much of the tabular data. But if you are working with some tabular data, then you definitely want to use the table element. Also, we can add the caption for the table as well inside of this caption element. Inside of that, we can add anything we want. And yeah, this is basically it for table. And one thing which I want to point out here, like this style, the border 1 pixel solid gray, this is inside of the table, right? But the caption for the table is outside. So let's see here. As you can see, this is the caption, and the border is applied after that. So just to keep in mind that. All right, so this is all about the table element in HTML.